This video training, it's all about story branding, and we're going to share with you various steps that you need to follow when it comes to establishing and building your brand through the powerful usage of story branding, and what you actually need to be doing in positioning your business and yourself towards consumers, and how you should be able to do it, what you should be focusing about, why you should be doing it the way we're going to be recommending to you. And so if you think about a story, initially, or the first thing that you have to think about is that consumers actually should be the hero of a story, not your brand. If you just think about that, if all that you're doing is about your business, it means you're not communicating, let alone connecting with your consumers. And so consumers will trust us more when we position our companies as a guide that helps them overcome their challenges by providing them with various resources and necessary tools that help them as heroes within our story. And so a question that you need to ask yourself is, what does the consumer want in relation to how it relates to our brand? Very, very important. They need to identify themselves as the hero in our stories, and that our brand is the guide that provides them with the necessary things that they need and want. And so you have to be defining something that the consumer wants and include that in your marketing content that you're putting out. Focus on one simple desire first that a consumer has, and then create campaigns for each of the products that you are having in relation to what the consumer's desire is. So don't just be random. Before you put out content, understand that different consumers have different desires. So then choose a particular desire, which is the most common one, and then build or create campaigns around each of your solutions or products that help solve that particular problem. And so the thing about consumers is that they will always go for a brand that helps them survive and thrive. And that will come through the following: the value that they get from engaging with your business, how convenient it is to do business with you. Does the solution that you're offering, is it customized to addressing their specific needs? And how do they recognize themselves through that solution? Very, very important. And so what about your brand helps people survive? What about your brand helps people thrive? That's how you should always be communicating. And so your message should be clear, and that's how consumers will be able to engage with your brand once they see that, this is my problem, this is what I need, this is what I want, and this company or this brand or this product is going to help me with that particular problem or get me that which I need. And so there's a character which is your consumer. So think of who your different consumers are, what is important to them, and then showcase the products, the solutions, the services that you are providing them, that you are helping them overcome this particular problem. Point number 2, consumers buy solutions to internal problems. But we have seen as a company that a lot of optometric practices sell solutions to external problems. What do we mean? As a company, we need to talk about the problems consumers face, and this will deepen their interest in what we have to offer them as solutions. Consumers need to see that we fully understand what their problem is and how it actually affects them. And when it comes to visual related problems, consumers have what we would be seeing as a villain. Remember, every story has a villain. And so when it comes to eye care, what or who is the villain? The villain is eye strain, dry eyes, refractive error problems, pathology. Those are villains that are affecting consumers more than anything when it comes to their visual needs or visual problems. And so some characteristics that will define a villain: the villain should be, it's the root source, right? The villain should be relatable. The villain should be singular. The villain should be real. So your company solutions that you provide as solutions to consumers build should speak directly to the internal problems and not the external ones. So let me give you an example actually. If you think of an external problem, it's dry eye is an external problem. The internal problem is that because of the external problem, they are having uncomfortable vision as the day progresses throughout the day. So you need to be solving the internal problem because that's more important than the external problem. That's very, very important. The purchasing decisions are made easier by consumers when the solutions that they have to choose from relate to their visual problems. So don't confuse the consumer. Don't confuse the consumer. Understand what are the internal problems that consumers have? What are the external problems? So dry eye is an external problem, but uncomfortable vision is the internal problem because that is what is affecting them and limiting them from performing their duties adequately and effectively. And so majority of optometric practices, what we have seen is that they sell or position their brands to solve external problems and nothing else distinguishes them from other practices. And so the added value that distinguishes your brand is the internal solutions that you provide that no one else does. So you need to be communicating internal solutions to internal problems that consumers have. And so consumers, very, very important with consumers, they want to be involved in a story that is larger than themselves. And so brands that give consumers a voice in a larger narrative add value to their products by giving their consumers a deeper sense of meaning. So is there a deeper story your brand contributes to? So buy one, get one free, unfortunately, does not necessarily speak to the internal problems that a consumer has. The internal consumer's problem is that they hate driving at night because they can't see clearly. That's what you're solving. You're not just providing a coating for that, but they need to understand that you know and understand the internal problem, so that the quicker they understand that, the easier it becomes for them to then go with what the solution that you're recommending. And so best brand positioning involves the following actually: external problems that you are solving, internal problems, physiological problems that you are solving as well. And so your message when it comes to solutions that you offer should be positioned such that it resolves all problems, not just limited to one. And so best approach to simplify the message, here's how it is there a single villain your brand stands against? So you standing against dry eye, you standing against uncomfortable vision, you standing against whatever the problem is. And what external problem is the villain causing for the consumer? How is the external problem making the consumer feel? How does them having dry eye as an external problem make them feel and about themselves? Well, it's the uncomfortable vision. It's the fact that they can't tolerate the discomfort anymore, and that's why they need a pair of glasses. And so why is it unjust to have a problem, a person suffer at the hands of the villain? So we need to show them that, look, this problem is making you experience this. So we want you to experience the following, and so we will solve that problem for you. And this is the product and the solution that is best structured or best suited to get rid of this villain, which is dry eye. So you communicating in that manner with the individuals and not just being random. And so the next one is consumers connect with brands that prioritizes them as the hero and the brand as the guide in the story. So that's what you should be communicating. You're communicating, this is how you can help. This is what we know you are having as a problem, and this is what we have as a solution. Are you willing to trust us with the solution that we have for you? Because the solution is going to help you in the following manner so that you can continue to win again. So brands that position themselves as heroes, you unknowingly actually compete with the potential consumer. When brands come along and position themselves as heroes, consumers remain at a distance because you're not speaking their language. You're not communicating what they are experiencing and how it's impacting their lives. All you seem to be doing is communicating promotions, specials, deals, and nothing that actually connects the consumer to your brand. And so in practical terms, consumers don't like companies that go on and on about how great they are. They end up feeling like the focus is more about you and your practice than it is about them. And so the guide plays a critical and important role in the story of the hero, as the hero cannot function without the guide. And so as a guide, never position yourself as the hero in any way. The hero is the consumer and the guide is the business. And it's very, very simple, that you showing them that this is what you will experience when you have, or this is what you should be experiencing with regards to visual needs and how you should be seeing. But you can't at the moment because of the following. But we've got the solution that can solve this problem that you are having. And so that's what you should be communicating. And so how should you express empathy when it comes to communication? That's basically what you have to be doing. You should be showcasing empathy and then moving from empathy to compassion. That is very important for you to understand. When it comes to content, you communicating empathy, compassion with the solution, not communicating products, and services that you are rendering, because it tends to come across as you want to sell glasses to as many people as you want, that every single person that comes to your practice, all you're focusing about or on, it's about getting them glasses. Versus when you are a guide and they are the hero, consumers then are able to see that, wait a minute, this is what I'm suffering, and because of what I'm suffering, I can't do that which I want to do. I can't experience that which I want to experience. But this company here is showcasing that they've got the necessary resources, solutions, and products that can help me achieve that which I want to achieve. And so express an understanding of the pain and frustration that the hero is going through. That's where you need to start with regards to putting out content. An expression of empathy in the dilemma the consumer faces leads them to trust us. So when they can see that you are compassionate and you've got empathy for what they're going through, the likelihood of them connecting with your brand increases. Remember, consumers want to be seen, heard, and understood. When you're communicating with consumers on various digital platforms, is that what they're getting? Is that what you're communicating? Does the consumer get the impression that you see them, you hear them, and you understand them? That's where the key is. And so once you've identified the consumer's internal problems, let them know you understand what they're going through and would like to help them overcome that particular problem. And people don't buy, or people don't care how much you know actually, until they know how much you care. That's where the element of compassion comes in. And what do you have in common with the consumer? Once they understand, or once the consumer is persuaded that your brand and them are just alike, an unknown nuance then gets to be filled with trust that they have for your brand. So once they see that you focused on helping them, you focused on providing them with solutions to the problems that they have, they are in a position to trust you more. A person could be inquiring about, hi, how much does it cost to have my eyes tested? Lately, I've been having a problem with when I'm sitting in front of a computer for long periods. My eyes are irritated and I'm just not happy. I think I need an eye test. Yes, sir. When you have your eyes examined, we ask you a couple of questions pertaining to your vision. We do various pre-screening tests that give us an indication of what you currently see. Those questions, with regards to the preliminary examination test that we do, is the first part. Then you go inside with the optometrist, where the optometrist is going to examine your eyes, examine the health of your eye, examine your lifestyle, your leisure activities, probe you in as much information as possible. And once you've provided them information in terms of all the problems that you're experiencing, they will give you guidance in terms of why you're going through what you're going through, why you're experiencing what you're experiencing, and then they will come up with a management plan in terms of what are the necessary solutions pertaining to what you complained about that exist, and this is how we can solve those problems. And so that's basically what the eye test is all about: discovering what the diagnosis is, how it impacts your life in the different components of your life, and then we will provide you with the necessary solutions. So there might be no need for glasses, there might be a need of glasses, there might be a need for two pairs of glasses, there might be a need for various coatings and tints on your glasses as a result of the diagnosis that we come up with. But however, whatever the diagnosis is, there will also be the accompanying management solution. And so this is basically the process that we're going to go through. And so that on its own establishes trust, because in that sentence that I've just said, I did not communicate or I did not come across as communicating that I just want you to get glasses. I actually showed empathy, I showed compassion. And so how do you then demonstrate your authority or your competence in regard to the solutions that you're providing? Don't load your expertise, it turns people off. Heroes trust guides that know what they're doing. So it's very, very important that you don't have to seem like you know it all, but you should have evidence and experience that you have helped people or other people that come with that the consumer has come presenting into your practice. And so you need to show them that, look, lately a lot of people actually have been spending a lot of time in front of their computer screens, and a lot of them have been wearing glasses for the last 10 years. But 10 years ago, when they were wearing glasses, all that they got given was a basic pair of glasses with the most basic anti-reflective coating. However, over the years, the amount of time that they spend in front of computer screens has increased, but the patient has not increased the type of lens, or has not enhanced or upgraded the type of lens that they needed with regards to the type of coatings that will help solve the problem that they're experiencing. Because now they're spending 16 hours in front of a computer or digital device, as opposed to 10 years ago when they were only spending 6 to 8 hours. And so we would recommend a higher premium product to solve this problem and to make sure that we are exceeding your expectations and solving the needs that you are having. And so that's how you go about positioning yourself. And so one of the things that can help you in ensuring that the consumer can understand that you have actually helped other people with the type of problem is get testimonials on the different solutions, different avenues, different components of your business. Get testimonials and share those testimonials online, on your website, on the various digital platforms that you are having. Statistics: how many satisfied people have you helped? How did you help them save money or make them more money? How has your business grown since you have helped them? Those are things that you need to take into consideration. And so your story has to be focused on you being the guide and your consumers being the hero. Yeah. Does your brand make a great first impression when people encounter it? What is the first impression? And is it a good one? Think about it for your own business and for your own brand. And so first impression, empathy, if that is the first impression, it confirms trust or confirms trust. First impression, competence, it confirms respect. So do people get excellent service delivery when they engage with your brand, or that's the impression that they get? Competence, focusing on them. What is the first impression that people encounter when they engage with your brand? And so you need to constantly demonstrate that's what you specialize in. You specialize in solving people's problems when it comes to the visual needs. Very, very important. Number 4, consumers trust brands or guides that have a clear plan of action. Consumers look for guides that lay out a clear path that takes away any form of confusion that they might have to do business with you. So you have to simplify your message in a manner that consumers can connect and they can see, you know what, this company or this brand is actually what I need to solve my problem. And so before consumers buy a product or get a service rendered, they're thinking the following over in their mind: what if this does not work? Is that worth the money that I spend on? Do I really need this now? Will it solve the problem that I have? So they're not going to communicate that with you, but that's what they're thinking at the back of their minds. And so we need to provide consumers with the necessary steps they need to make a decision to buy now. That's what you do throughout the journey of a patient. Once they come in the door, get their examination done, and you recommend management solutions, they need to know what the steps are going forward. And if they don't go with those steps, what's going to be the resultant effect or impact on it. And so your plan that you have structured that they can see must clarify how somebody can do business with you, must remove any sense of risk somebody might have if they're considering investing in the products and the services that you're rendering. Always understand that a person who is confused struggles then to make a decision pertaining to what they need. So don't confuse consumers. Simplify your communication with consumers and make sure that you are speaking at the language or in a manner in which they can easily understand you. There should be no area of uncertainty or confusion in the plan. They need to see the process. So the plan must have a process broken down into simply easy to follow steps or implementation processes. Include what should happen once a person encounters a problem. Give clear instructions on every single step. Alleviate any confusion that the consumer might have. And so make sure that throughout everything that you're doing, you are communicating with the consumer, you are asking them questions, they are asking you questions, so that there is never anything that you are missing out on. They understand what their problem is. They are convinced that you understand what their problem is. They are fully convinced that you have come up with the diagnosis and that the management solutions that you are recommending are best suited to solve that problem that they're having. And so that is the process. Don't have too many steps in it. That can confuse a person. A simple thing I've seen in optometry practices, people just walking on the shelves constantly, picking up 10, 15 pairs of glasses that they're trying on. Your team needs to be in a position, or you yourself as an individual, you need to know your product knowledge in relation to consumer problems, in relation to consumer needs and wants, so that you are making recommendations for them to say, you know what, sir, the features of your face are as follows. And your frame, when you're selecting a frame, does one of the following things. It enhances features, hides features, or blends in with everything that you need. So when I'm looking at your skin tone, your hair, is your hair always like this? Your skin tone, your makeup right now, whatever it is that you're observing from the individual, this is then you say to them, this is what I'm recommending for you as a solution, based on the results, based on the management solutions, and based on your lifestyle, your leisure activities that you have mentioned. This is a product that I would recommend for you for the following reasons. It does this, it does that, it does this, and this one here would be my second option. And the third option would be these. The difference between these three types of frames are as follows. And in actual fact, based on your leisure activities, your all other components, ideally you would want 2 pairs of glasses. The one will do the following, the second one will do the following. So you're communicating that with the individual consumer. And so make sure that throughout the whole process, the consumer fully understands that which you're communicating with them. And so there has to be an agreement. Make sure that throughout everything that you are doing, there is an agreement that the consumer agrees with what their problem is, what it means, how it's impacting them, why they're going through it, and what the solution is. And if they don't go with the solution, what the resultant impact will be for them. And so, very, very important. Consumers need to be challenged to take action and make a decision. A call to action involves communicating a clear and direct step that the consumer needs to take in order to overcome the problems that they are having. Without a clear call to action, consumers will not engage with our brand. Make sure that on digital platforms, on your website, in you communicating with the consumers, that you mention and you highlight and you specify a clear call to action that they need to have. And so even on your website, for example, a buy now button is very important because it pushes people to a sale. And so a direct call to action, for example, buy now or order now, schedule an appointment, call today, register today, leads to a direct sale. It has to, you're leading them somewhere. You're doing what you're doing with regards content, with regards communication, that the patient, the customer, the client is being directed to a specific action that they need to do. Remember, those are direct calls to action. Then you've got a transactional call to action, which is constantly providing them with free information, testimonials, samples, free trials. Those are things that help with, it's a transactional one, okay? Try this, then you make a call. Here's someone else that has experienced what you experienced, and this is what we did to help them. So it's more transactional. So is there a lot of transactional call to actions? Are there enough direct calls to action in the processes that you are following when it comes to story branding, when it comes to content? And so are your direct calls to action clear, and are they repeated option? So direct call at the top, middle, and at the bottom of your website on every single page, for example, if you are using our website to build your story. If it's inside the practice, you're constantly relaying those products that you are wanting the consumer to have in relation to, it's a solution that you're communicating in relation to the problem. So that's very, very important. And consumers don't want failure, and so are looking for help for them not to fail. And so here's what they'll always be thinking about. What do I gain if I go with what you're recommending versus what will I be losing if I don't go without it? And that's what consumers think about every single time they engage with your brand and in relation to their challenges. Consumers don't ever want to lose more than they want to win. Very, very important. Very, very important. And so make the reader know they are vulnerable to a threat, and share stats on eye health, for example, with them. Constantly give them information that shows them that they are vulnerable to this particular threat. Let the person always know that they need to take action against that threat. Dry eye is a threat. Uncomfortable vision is a threat. Poor vision is a threat. All of that, glare and light sensitivity, those are threats. And so make them aware that if they don't take action against that, they're going to get worse. Make sure that they understand and secure those appointments with urgency. It's very, very important. Messages containing moderate amounts of fear-arousing content are not effective actually in producing an altitudinal or behavioral change. So you must make sure that in everything that you're doing, it leads back to the call to action and what the call to action will mean. And when they go with it, how are they going to have success in their working environment? How are they going to have success in their leisure activities from a visual point of view? And so never assume consumers understand how your brand can change their lives. You must tell them, you must communicate with them. Consumers want to know how life will look like after they have engaged with your brand. Consumers want to be taken to where they have never been before. So they want to see far more than what they're currently seeing, right? Take them there and show them this is how they're going to get to see exactly how they need to be seen. And so images are very, very important, that you share images, you share videos, you're communicating a story around the consumer that you have in mind. Very, very important. And those were just the steps that we wanted you to understand. And the thing about story, communicate in a language that the consumer can easily connect with. Communicate in a manner that the consumer can easily connect with your brand. And basically, that's how you go about building a story brand.